G'day everybody, Duckville here, bringing you a game from the Razor Team Liquid this week in replay pack number 29. This is featuring one of our favourite mana players. It is Liquid Sheth, who is starting up in the top right hand side of Entombed Valley. This is going to be on the NA ladder, I believe. This is going to be against another Zerg, of course. I know you guys love a bit of ZvZ action. It's a little bit jam-packed with crazy knife fights that go down between Lings and Banes and Roaches and all that sort of fun stuff. So we'll see what happens in this one. His opponent is down here in the blue at the bottom right-hand side. It is Complexity's coLGoswser. He is, of course, one of the really great Zergs in the scene. Of course, he's he's really up and coming as well, doing some really good stuff. So, really excited to see how this match goes. Sheth, of course, the kneeboard warrior, doing some cool stuff for Team Liquid. And of course, if you want to see the replays, this replay and other replays from Team Liquid players, make sure you jump onto the website there and have a quick look. You can find all the replay packs on there. One other thing, another little housekeeping thing before we get too far into things, it is of course the dawn of Season 7. Hope you guys have all got your plans ready for what you're going to do this season. It is going to be very interesting with some of those new, very macro-orientated maps. And speaking of macro-orientated, we're going to have a just a quick expansion here from coLGoswser. He's going to put that down and get started on that hatchery. We'll see if the same is going to come along from Sheth. It is indeed. But yeah, so hopefully everybody has got a little plan. I think it's a very important part of playing the game, especially if you're playing on ladder and not a high level pro. If you're just your average ladder netizen, you're going to be you need to set a goal and have a look at what you can do for each season. For me, Season 6, it was get 100 wins on the Korean server, which I have done. I'm proud to say I have done that, and happy to transition into Season 7. Going to be trying to get around about 150 to 200 wins on the NA ladder this time. Going to try and bring back some Korean knowledge and skill that I may or may not have gained. If you've been watching me on stream, you might have seen some times where it got a bit ragey on the stream, but hopefully some things were gained, lessons were learned, all that sort of thing. Yeah, so both of these players just going very standard here, of course, given the fact that they are both a Zerg. You can scout out exactly what your opponent is up to. Sheth has just pushed down the map with his Overlord and has scouted out that the expansion is there. coLGoswser has also done the same. As you can see, he's just seen the hatchery is ready. Probably won't really differentiate too much just for the moment. Both of the players have got their spawning pools up along with the gas as well. Just picking up that gas. Probably going to see how these things move along once they get a certain amount of gas, and it looks as if Sheth is going to start out with his Ling speed straight away. May go for a little bit of pressure at the start. We'll see if that is the plan, but coLGoswser has picked up a couple of Lings. He's got 4 out at the moment, a couple more on the way as well, so he's actually going to have 8 out. A little bit interesting to see that he's going to have that many. I wouldn't say that's a standard sort of way to open up. You can certainly get a few depending on how you're going to try and defend at your natural expansion and inside the main. So it's a learning experience for me as well. Of course, I'm not a pro Zerg at all. In fact, that's one funny thing. I've been playing a little bit of Zerg on C. It's been absolutely insane trying to properly remember how to macro and do those sorts of things that Zergs have to worry about, like the lava injects and all of that. Speaking of which, not blocking the ramp there, Sheth actually letting a few of the Lings up inside the main. The Queens are going to have to come back as swiftly as they can. The drone's coming back inside. He's going to try and pull back a couple of the drones. However, it looks as if coLGoswser has actually picked up a couple of drone kills here. The Ling's still alive for the moment. One trying to busily run through the rest of the Ling pack and not going to get away. But that was one kill, so that was not too bad there from coLGoswser, getting one slight kill there, which is going to help out. Of course, ZvZ in StarCraft 2 is not the real sort of very deterministic sort of matchup like it was in Brood War. In Brood War, you lose a drone or two, you're in a lot of trouble. That's the way that sort of played out. We're a lot more forgiving here in the macro of StarCraft 2, and as we can see, Sheth doing his own run by, gonna get one drone, maybe gonna pick up a couple of Lings while he's there, does get one, gets a good surround there, in fact, pulling back a couple of the Lings to make sure he can do as best as he can in the fight, and he does do quite well, takes down all of those Lings from GoSu and then has to retreat, takes a spine crawler in the face of one of those lings, and that guy has had enough of that, so that ling will perish. Meanwhile, just back at base, we've got the Baneling Nest for both players up and ready to rumble. An Extractor coming on along for GoSu as well. Both of the players are switching into their lair tech that has just started. They're almost exactly on the same sort of structure right now. We've actually got gas geysers going up all over the place, the extractors being placed, and they'll be collecting up as much gas as they can. One big thing to note, of course, in ZvZ is your overlord spread. Always got to be very careful with where you put them. You don't want to get them too close to your opponent, like up in this sort of region here, but you want to try and get as much vision as you can, so you can see on the general sort of the path where your opponent will want to go, where and what sort of units are coming along. So it's good to see that both of these players are doing that. I'm a little bit surprised. In fact, no, Sheth is going to actually put one down here in the backdoor path, which is going to be quite nice for him. He'll be able to see if anything is coming along that way here. But GoSu, well prepared for these lings, is going to have a couple... No, he's not going to lose any of those Banes, but one ling does get inside, and Sheth is able to scout out exactly what is coming here from GoSu, and now he's going to have to obviously adequately defend against what he can see. Now, of course, both these players have actually done essentially the same thing. The only real big thing that you have to worry about is the fact that the gases have all been taken, and it looks as if one ling will get inside, does get a little hit off, doesn't actually hit a single unit there, and Sheth trying to get inside, gets, I think he got, no he didn't get any drone kills there, but trying to get back inside. Sheth with more lings trying to push through, but doesn't actually get too much done because there is a lot of defense here for GoSu. He's got the two spine crawlers along with a lot of lings as well, and is easily able to deflect that attack. Now, Sheth has got the infestation pit. Interesting choice here from Sheth to get that straight away. He's obviously also got the evolution chambers inside the main going as well. The drone count for both players sitting quite even at the moment. We've got 56 for GoSu, just slightly ahead, and a little Baneling hit there on the side, and Sheth on 54. So they're both sort of at the same sort of point with their droning up, and as we can see, it looks as if GoSu's actually going to take his third base a little bit quicker than what his opponent is. Sheth's still about to place that down. He is going to encounter a couple of lings that are there. In fact, we'll see if this drone has to have a fight. In fact, it will, and Sheth is going to need to pull that drone back as quick as he can. Does get it out and does keep it alive. That'll allow him to put that hatchery down straight away. So the tech differences, as we mentioned, infestation pit for Sheth is done already. The pathogen glands is also just about to complete as well. So he's going to have a nice amount of infestors right at the start of the game there. Meanwhile, for GoSu, he's got a couple of mutalisks out. He actually got quite a few mutas right at the start there to get them out, get some map control. As you can see, when you start taking down the overlords of your opponent, you put them in the red. Sheth is currently quite a few overlords behind. He's going to lose more and more as the game goes on. They are trying to retreat as quickly as they can. However, this guy is not going to get too far, and now it looks as if Sheth is going to have to really prepare up some more of his overlords because he's just losing them left, right, and center. We got another 3 on the way. Mutal is still flying around trying to catch whatever they can. Infestors and Queens, the main sort of defense at the front portion of Sheth's base here. He's going to have to transfer some drones across soon as well. The third base is just about to complete. And for GoSu, he has already done that and is already mining at his third base, including the 5th and 6th gases. So that's going to be a really big sort of signal of what's to come. We'll probably see. I'm thinking this is going to be quite a lot of roaches and infestors from GoSu. He does have his +1 to missile attacks over halfway done. So that's going to be coming through very soon as well. And that means that I'm pretty sure we're going to see quite a lot of roaches out of him. Meanwhile, Sheth just poking around the map, trying to find any errant lings or drones around the map. A couple of banelings going to hang back for the time being. Going to almost get some decent damage on that hatchery, but not really too much. I'm thinking that Sheth might be... Is he at burrow? No, he doesn't have burrow yet. I was thinking he might try and come in and get down some Baneling landmines in the mineral line there, which would be very cute. But he's not going to have a chance of that because burrow is not done nor on the way. So Sheth is really just trying to bide his time for the moment, trying to get up quite a lot of his upgrades for his lings. In fact, he's getting he's getting 2-2 for both the melee and carapace as well. So I'm thinking, there it is, Ultralisk. It's going to be an Ultralisk play here from Sheth. He's going to grab a few of those big boys, the hippos, the elephants, whatever you want to call them. They're going to come out here and really help to supplement the infestors, which are now starting to gather up quite a lot of their energy as well. But speaking of gathering up a lot of units out here, it's a really interesting mixture of lings, mutas, infestors, and of course these roaches that are here from coLGoswser. So he's going to try and get inside and get some damage done. Does get into the third base, going to pick off some of the drones at the top and then lose some of his lings down at the bottom and maybe get the queen. No, he won't. The queen will survive just for the moment here. So a couple of those drones do go down. Meanwhile, for Sheth, here comes those banelings, those sneaky banelings, which are just sort of hanging out here. He's going to need to get some vision of that sort of position if he wants to get in and get maximum damage. But Sheth is just sort of biding his time with that, keeping those guys to the side. We've got one random overlord over here. I'm not sure what that guy is on the lookout for, but perhaps just trying to keep an eye out if there are any lings coming. A fourth base, as we can see, is also going to be on the way from Sheth. So these guys really just sort of sitting back for the moment. Very minimal engagements, very minimal sorts of harassments even, which is very surprising to see. Normally, as we said right at the start of the cast, you see lots of harassment in ZvZ, whether it be from lings just trying to poke around and get some damage done, or if it's sort of the baneling scrappy fights you see where people have to sort of select up all of their units and make sure they're hitting the right things. But now a couple more lings just streaming inside. Sheth just perhaps trying to catch out some of the lings, but he's going to have a bit of a problem here because coLGoswser actually has quite a lot of roaches in the mix here, and now with all of these infestors as well, there is no way these lings are going to be able to do anything. So Sheth has to again sit back and just bide his time with all these units. These roaches from coLGoswser now up to +1 weapons. He's got +2 on the way. A little bit surprised that he doesn't have a second Evo chamber, but perhaps he's going to get that up very soon. There is an attack inside the third base though, the fourth base I should say, of coLGoswser, and he does lose quite a few of the drones, the lings distracting the spine crawlers and the queen. And in fact, getting quite a lot of kills there. He actually picked up, now got a total of 11 worker kills. That is quite a lot there. So that is good stuff there from Sheth, being able to get a little bit of harassment done. But now trying to push inside. coLGoswser is going to encounter a wall of spine crawlers and a lot of lings. And then the big boys come out of the shadows. They are Ultralisk and they are coming through. And then some infestors as well, chewing through all of that little infestor group that coLGoswser had. And things have now changed quite a bit here for coLGoswser. What is he going to do? He's got Hydras out on the map. He's going to have a few of those very soon. He's got 13 on the way. They're going to have their +2 weapons, and they're going to have their groove back as well. So once they've got that, he's going to be in a good position. I'm not actually an expert on how this sort of fight will go. We're going to have Roach Infestor Hydra versus sort of Ling Bane Ultra and a few infestors as well. I'm thinking that will generally go the way of the Infestor Ultra, considering that the Ultra should be able to chew through a lot of the Ultras, but it's really going to be dependent on the positioning and how Sheth decides to engage, because I'm pretty sure that one of the things coLGoswser will try to do is actually put down like a wall of infested Terrans. I've seen people do that before, where you will actually sort of just put down a wall of the eggs there. It actually blocks the Ultralisk from getting through for a short time, and that means that you can lay in a lot of fire onto those big guys with the Hydralisk and of course the Ultras as well. And now just having a little bit of a look inside, Sheth can see that there is quite a lot here, along with a lot of Hydras as well, and that could mean that Sheth is going to perhaps just fall back for the moment. He does just pull back with those Ultras. He's got a total of 8 out at the moment. We've got another one on the way. +3 to weapons is also just about to complete for them, along with their extra armor, and they are going to be quite beefy when facing off against this force. As we said though, the problem will be getting in range, I'm thinking, because with the Roaches tanking at the front, and then perhaps some of the Infested Terrans blocking the way. There they go. He does actually block the way with those Infested Terrans. Beautiful work there from coLGoswser, and he actually blocks out the attack of those Ultralisks, takes one of them down, and that means that Sheth is going to have to be very careful with how he engages here. only just now getting Baneling speed, which is a little bit surprising from him. He is going to need it as well to try and roll into town and take care of these Hydralisks, but now the battle ensues at the ramp. A lot of Infested Terrans going down again here. We can see that is actually just quite a lot of the Infested Terrans providing the tanking there on those Ultralisks, and then the Hydras taking a lot of damage, but they have now been chewed up. Fungal Growth and the Ultralisk finally getting in range and providing a good attack force there for Sheth, so he was able to fend off that attack for the time being. Meanwhile, he's actually, he cancelled that base down at the southern side very easily, and another Ling is going to get inside and deny that again, I think, or no, he's not. But he is going to find some Ultralisks and just have a quick poke at those Ultralisks, the Infestors, as they just clear the way for the drone. But now Sheth pushing through the middle section of the map. He's got to deal with a wall of Spine Crawlers, not to mention the Hydras and the Infestors have repositioned themselves again. Another wall there of those Infested Terrans providing a good little beefy meat shield against those Ultralisks. Meanwhile, Sheth is just getting more and more Infestors as much as he can, because he is going to need those to take down the big roach count of coLGoswser, and obviously let his Ultras get in range of what coLGoswser has. So this is a very interesting battle. As we can see, Sheth getting up his 5th base just to the left-hand side of the map here. And now, as we can see, the base down at the southern side for coLGoswser is actually in trouble, but the Ultralisks now beefing up and have just walked inside. They're actually in quite a lot of trouble because they have been blocked out again by the Infested Terrans. That must get incredibly annoying for Sheth there, just being blocked by eggs. That must be incredibly frustrating for him. So coLGoswser doing a great job of just holding off these attacks for the time being. His response to these Ultralisks is going to be to get just a lot of roaches and a lot of Hydralisks, I believe, and perhaps really just get a heap of Infestors as well. Like, I mean, we've already got a total of how many is that? That is 19 Infestors out on the map already. So that's quite a lot more than Sheth has. Sheth has currently got a total of 12, so he's just around about 7 behind. So he's got to be sort of careful with, again, he's got to be really careful with how these battles go and how he sort of positions his Ultralisks when they get into the fight. And it looks as if Sheth may be going for a bit of a switch here. We've got double Spire, which could mean that we'll get a lot of tech there on those Spire units once they come out. A couple of submarine Infestors being caught out by the Overseers that were just poking around there. coLGoswser a little bit sad about that. This is just not a good position to attack into from what I can see here for Sheth. While he does have a lot of damage on those Ultralisks, he's still going to just try and actually bust through all of these eggs. Look at all of this. This is like we're at a chicken farm or something like that. There are just eggs everywhere, and the Ultras are actually being cleaned up. They are slowly chomping through the forces of coLGoswser there, but he is just losing so many of those Ultralisks, and I think this may be just a little bit of a play just to sacrifice some of his supply there, as Sheth does lose quite a lot of the Ultralisks. Didn't actually take down as much of his opponent there, but he is now remaxing on Lings. As we can see, there are 28 Lings. There are, in fact, no, there's more Ultralisks on the way, so he's still continuing to try and push through with all these Ultralisks here. We'll see how he's going to be able to get out of this position, because there are so many Infestors down on the ground, and a lot of them still have energy, so it's not as if coLGoswser is stuck for energy at all here. And now, this is actually a little bit of a bad position here for coLGoswser, getting caught on the ramp with some bungles, and now some Infested Terrans are going to pop out, and Sheth is going to lose all of those Infestors, and that is not good at all. So we'll see that Sheth drops quite far down in his supply, but he has now got, we've got more Ultralisks out, and I think the Broodlords are going to be next on the menu for Sheth here. He's got +1 to the missile weapons, the air attack weapons are on the way, 10 Corruptors as well, so we're going to see that big switch into Broodlord Ultra, which is going to be probably one of the only times I've ever seen it. I think we saw it once in the GSL between Nestea and someone. Can't exactly remember who, but I'm sure there was another game like that. I think it was on Crevasse. Yeah, so this is about to get pretty crazy for both of these players. +1 to the air weapons finishes for Sheth. He's got +1 to the carapace as well. And the corruptors are just now popping out here for Sheth, so he's probably going to see a little bit of a switch into those Broodlords very soon. He's still got a little bit of gas left over. He actually had a little bit of trouble up here in the top left-hand side. This base was attacked by, I believe that was an infestor force that snuck up here. In fact, is going to get there again and perhaps put another big group of infestors down on the ground to try and take care of that base. And there he goes. He does move into position here and drops down some of the infestors. They're going to take shots at the drones and, in fact, should be able to get that hatchery as well if he moves that into position. But Sheth is quickly going to move across, no doubt about that. The Ultra is now just pushing through. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, GoswserS is going to have his own problem at his 5th base with the Ling streaming across from Sheth. They do have their, beautifully timed cancel there from coLGoswser, picking that off just at the right time. Meanwhile, for Sheth, he almost loses the hatchery up the top, but the Ultralisk come through to save the day. So this is really just a matter of a game of bases right now. Whether coLGoswser can get up his 5th base and continue his massive Roach Hydra infestor production, or if Sheth can get his 5th base up and just get this this extra little set of extractors up to resupply himself with these Broodlords and the Ultralisks that he is really swiftly moving into. Look at that. We've now got a count of how many Broodlords is that? Number 10 on the counter there. So he's really stepped up that production and should be able to think about moving across the map right about now. So the big thing about moving across with Ultras and the Broodlords is that Sheth is going to be able to put down a lot of damage from afar. Of course, the main thing is going to be that his Ultralisk will be able to tank on the ground and try and soak up some of the damage from the Hydras and the Roaches, while the Broodlings are actually the ones who are going to be doing quite a lot of damage in there. And as we can see, once again, coLGoswser trying to take down this base, does not actually focus fire or anything there, and the Infestor's doing a great job not only being annoying at that 5th base, but also at this potential 6th base as well. Taking down the drone, not letting him get an expansion up, but there is another one here, so Sheth is perhaps going to get an expansion after all. He does have a good amount of drones, missing one on that extractor, but it looks as if we're going to move into a battle here. We've got coLGoswser finally pushing up the map. He's got 2-2 on these Roaches here, so they're going to be doing quite a lot of damage. The Broodlords up to the left-hand side. Here comes some of those infested Terrans trying to block the way. Beautiful fungal growth from Sheth right on top of the Roaches there, and this should leave a bit of room here for Sheth to pull back and perhaps get the Broodlords prepared to assault again. This is the one thing which he's got to be careful of, is this big count of these infested Terrans. They do so much damage. As you can see, it's not a huge amount where Ultralisks are concerned, but it will be quite a lot to those Broodlords. But it looks as if coLGoswser has just pushed inside, has made a wall of infested Terrans, again blocking out Sheth's Ultralisk. He's going to have to rely on his Broodlords to actually get the damage done here, and here they come, doing their 22 Broodling strike damage, then of course including the extra damage from the Broodlings themselves, and more infested Terrans getting thrown down here. This is actually going to cause a little bit of trouble here for Sheth. Going to lose, is he going to lose any of those Broodlords? I hope he doesn't, because he doesn't actually have a Greatest Fire anymore, but nope, does keep all 10 of them alive, I believe. In fact, it's now 11, and a couple more Ultralisks now popping out for Sheth as well. I think the big thing here is that the Ultralisks are going to be able to tank so much, and then the Broodlords are going to be able to finish the rest of the army for coLGoswser. He's trying to resupply on Infestors. We got 14 more Infestors on the way. The Broodlords doing huge amounts of damage here. These Cracklings on the ground as well, also doing a heap of damage with their +3/3 on their armor and weapons, and Sheth is still, again, waiting for all sorts of trouble to happen up at this 5th base, but is not going to have to deal with anything, although there are 2 sneaky infestors in that base there of Sheth. And now more submarine infestors just pushing up. They're going to try and get out here and get some more damage done. We'll see if they're going to be able to catch anything out of the blue. They will find that there are some Lings here. I'd love to see an infested Terran right on the top of this Ling group here. If that big Baneling group gets caught, that's going to be quite a world of pain there for whichever infested Terran gets thrown. But the Broodlords have meanwhile moved across the map. He's going to try and deny any extra bases that coLGoswser does have down at the southern left-hand side, but there's only going to be this one here. and that could signal that the game is very close to ending, because coGoswser's been only mining off essentially this base here. The third is just about dead as well, and the fourth is still not very well saturated. So the drone count is going to be the interesting part here, but it looks as if, wow, the submarine infest is being caught out there, and Sheth has just absolutely switched that game out, and there are still quite a lot of infestors available for coGoswser, but he's going to be caught out very soon. The Broodlords are going to approach from the side. There they are, attacking into that fifth base. Meanwhile, the Ultras and the Lings now doing so much damage, just like in Brood War, where you'd see the Ultras doing a lot of damage and the actual real damage dealers being the Lings, and having to pull back there because there are so many infested Terrans. Sheth is just going to have to bide his time, just needs to be very patient here. He doesn't want to lose any of these Broodlords, doesn't want to unnecessarily attack into any of these bases. So and as we can see, more harassment here from the infested Terrans of coGoswser. He's going to have to move these in and perhaps take down that base. I think he is going to. Ultralisk pops out. Will he be able to save the day? I don't think so. The hatchery does go down. Finally does go down. And while this is all happening, we've got Broodlords moving into that fourth base of coGoswser, and this is going to be lights out for him, I think, because he has no real way of dealing with these Broodlords. But now, from underground, the infestors pop out. A whole bunch of these infested Terrans. They're doing their huge damage as well. Keep in mind, they do 11 damage at a time, but the Ultralisk coming in to save the day, and a GG well played from coGoswser. That was an absolutely crazy game between these two awesome Zerg players. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was a little bit interesting to see Ultralisk and Broodlords in the same game, especially in a ZvZ. So that was a very, very fun game to watch. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Make sure you comment and subscribe and hit the like button on my Facebook profile, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers.